Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Uriel Morningstar versus the world. This is episode 7. Let's begin, but prepare yourselves. Shit's about to get very real, and I'm not holding back in this video. And I will be sharing real life experiences with you, my brutal truth, my brutal reality. Please listen with your heart and with your soul. And as you watch today's episode, I ask that you put yourself in my shoes. How would you react to these situations? And how would they affect your mind if you had to go through them for 57 years? Connect with me deeply, step outside of yourself, and see the world through my eyes. Please acknowledge the severity of my reality. I am a multiple-time clinical death survivor living with Marfan syndrome because this connective tissue disorder has no cure. I live in constant danger of fatal complications like aortic dissection or a collapsed lung. Every moment is a struggle for survival. After a near-death experience and resuscitation, I've been haunted and hunted by unseen entities. This rare perspective is so intense that multiple genuine psychics across different cities have consistently suggested that I need an exorcism, leading me to believe there must be truth to their claims. Please listen with your hearts as I share my story. I'm defining my experience to honor both my pain and my resilience. The weight of daily survival is immense, having crossed to the other side and returned. I feel like a living ghost, enduring the exhaustion of remaining in this reality while still belonging to another. Living with Marfan syndrome, I feel like I'm surviving on borrowed time. Every day is a grueling battle against unrelenting pain and the lingering pull of the near-death experience that I had during a surgery. I'm stubbornly resisting what feels like a death claim on my life, playing by dangerous new sets of rules just to stay here. As I age, the thinning of my physical connective tissue due to Marfan syndrome mirrors a thinning veil between my life and the spiritual realm. I live in a fractured reality where physical pain and extrasensory presence are inseparable, leaving me with the profound sense that I'm living on borrowed time. I'm a marked man because I've crossed over and come back from the other side is now watching and haunting me. Death has tried to take me a few times, but failed. So now I'm just existing in the middle ground. It can't quite close. I'm still here on Earth, simple, direct, and staying defiant. Living with relentless pain is incredibly isolating, especially when it feels like a spiritual target on my back. But being able to voice this struggle is proof of my own mental strength. I am living a threshold, existing in the thin space between two worlds. My life isn't just a medical journey. It's a constant navigation of three overlapping realities. The physical. Marfan syndrome has stretched my body to its limits, leaving me to manage chronic pain and scars of countless surgeries. And then there's the spiritual. Having died and returned multiple times, I am the unclaimed. I've cheated the natural cycle, which has made me a target for spirits who resent my presence living here on Earth. Then there's the mental. My life is an act of resistance. Despite being haunted by entities and worn down by my body, I still remain unbroken. I'm not just a survivor. I am a bridge between realms, and every day I wake up is a victory for my warrior spirit. I'm about to open up and show you the reality of what I've been through. I'll be showing my surgical scars on my chest, my back, my side, and my arm, and sharing the stories behind them. I'm going to talk about the times that I've actually died, what I experienced on the other side, and how I managed to survive it all. Just a heads up, this will include graphic footage of my scars. So please look away if you're sensitive to that kind of thing. I'm doing this to show you all my reality, and removing the possibility for doubt from people that are skeptic or disbelief in what I'm saying. Seeing is believing. Put yourself in my shoes for a second. As you watch today's episode, really ask yourself, how would you feel and what would you do if you were in my position? Anyway, for those of you still watching, let's dive into the rest of this video. I found out I had Marfan syndrome the hard way back in 1982 when I was only 13 years old. Unlike most people who inherit it, mine was a spontaneous mutation. Before the diagnosis, my health was spiraling. I was failing classes, my vision was shot, and I turned blue just trying to participate in gym class or play with friends. Everything changed when I was sent to the University of Alberta Hospital in Edmonton for a treadmill test. It lasted only a few seconds before my heart rate and blood pressure spiked so dangerously that they had to hit the emergency stop and put me on oxygen. And this was the turning point. The surgery. At just age 13, I underwent open heart surgery to install a nylon graft in my descending aorta, which had been too thin to allow proper blood flow. Then there was the recovery. After 6 months of healing, the transformation was incredible. My brain fog cleared up, my vision improved, and I finally had the energy to run around like Speedy Gonzales. But there's still that reality. While the surgery gave me back some life and sparked a massive growth spurt, I still know that there is no cure. It's a long time journey, and I stay aware that Marfan is something I will always have to manage. This is a scar from the surgery I had when I was 13 years old. Back in the early 80s, I had to undergo bladder surgery to fix a bedwetting issue. While the procedure did work, it was incredibly traumatic for me as a young teenager because I was a survivor of sexual abuse by a family member from ages 3 to 10. So I was already struggling with PTSD. And having doctors perform invasive procedures and follow-up exams, constantly touching me in my private areas, only deepened that existing trauma and PTSD and made my recovery even much harder. So back in the late 90s, I dealt with some pretty intense pain in my left arm. And that eventually left my last 3 fingers on this hand being completely numb and useless. And after a brutal nerve conduction test, which felt like being cattle prodded every 2 inches down your arm, doctors discovered my funny bone nerve was being crushed by thick cartilage. I had to have surgery to reroute that nerve away from my elbow, and it was a success. I got the feeling back, and even though they tingle occasionally once in a while, I have full use of my hand again. The silver lining? Well, since I'm left-handed and my dominant arm was in a cast for so long, I was forced to learn how to do everything with my right hand. So now I'm effectively ambidextrous and can handle tasks with either arm. This is the scar from when I was a young adult and I lost feeling in my fingers. In 2003, this is the big one, my life changed at karaoke bar in Edmonton. I couldn't hit the notes that I was singing all the time, all my life, and I couldn't breathe. So I went to the ER at the University of Alberta Hospital, the U of A, where an MRI was revealing that I was walking time bomb. Literally. I had a thumb-sized aneurysm on my descending aorta and another one on my aortic valve and a failing mitral valve. I was dying. My case was so dire, it was broadcasted on the news and debated by global specialists. While I was waiting for a plan, the spirit world began to bleed into my reality. I woke up often to hear my ancestors, unseen, but definitely loud and I could hear them, arguing over the value of my soul and where I'd spend my afterlife. The first surgery and the demon at the Peter Lougheed Hospital in Calgary. I was flown by the STARS ambulance to Peter Lougheed Hospital in Calgary. During the flight, we had to stay at a low altitude because the pressure was literally killing me. And once there, they tried to place a stent into my descending aorta. It failed. Oh, it failed. My femoral artery exploded. My heart stopped. I painted the ceiling of that operating room with 2/3 of my blood, and I spiritually watched the surgeon from the ceiling as I flatlined. I was pulled spiritually into a windowless hallway filled with thousands of other paralyzed people, and I watched spirits of light lead some of them away, while spirits of dark charged others, leaping into their chest. And then the unthinkable happened. Some kind of a black creature, half man, half hellhound or something, can't really explain it, but it approached me, and it ripped open my left groin with its teeth, mirroring the real world injury I had on the operating table, and it claimed me, snarling, "Your ass is mine." Then there was the choking issue. I was resuscitated and eventually woke from a short-term coma, but my nightmare continued. I began vomiting violently, and my nasogastric tube came up from my stomach into my throat. And I was sitting there choking and gagging on this. But because I had a breathing tube in, I couldn't speak. I banged on the bed rails and I banged on the bed rails, but the nurses thought I was just losing my mind and losing it, and they tethered my arms down. I spent an entire day using my tongue to hold that tube in place so that I wouldn't choke to death before a doctor finally realized what was happening. Eventually they placed a second stent inside the failed one to fix the first aneurysm, and that one worked. Then there's the heart rebuild at the Stollery, the U of A Edmonton. After a month of recovery at home, I was then admitted to the Stollery Children's Hospital, part of the U of A hospital complex in Edmonton, Alberta. Despite being 34 years old, I was put under the care of Dr. Ivan Rebecca at the Children's Stollery. They cracked open my chest, put me on a heart-lung machine, and literally took my heart out of my body to rebuild it. They placed an annuloplasty ring around my mitral valve. They installed a bileaflet St. Jude valve into my aorta. They performed a Bentall procedure replacing my aortic root and ascending aorta with artificial grafts. They used electrical probes to then jumpstart my heart again and then put it back in my chest. I survived, but I only regained about half of my strength. For the first month, I couldn't even walk. Recovery took most of a year, and I've never been 100% again, not even to this day. But here I am, and I'm alive. These are the scars from my open heart surgeries that I had in 2003, where I died several times, and I'm lucky to even be alive today. This took a turn for me around 210 when spinal stenosis started taking over me. I went from being someone who loved 3-hour walks to someone who struggles to make it a few blocks before my legs give out. It's been a rough progression, especially lately. There's been a physical decline. A 2025 nerve study confirmed that I'm losing feeling and use of my entire left side of my body. My neck pain is becoming so severe it causes brain fog and sometimes makes my legs completely and entirely give out on me, even in the middle of traffic. Then there's this surgical barrier. While surgery could help me, because I've got Marfan syndrome, it makes me too high risk. So the surgeons won't touch it, leaving me to manage this decline and this agonizing pain on my own. Then there's the medication gap. Because of the current opioid crisis worldwide, doctors won't prescribe me anything. I can't get the pain management I actually need. Doctors won't give me anything at all for my pain. So on bad weather days, the agony is so intense, so severe, I can't even get out of bed and sometimes can't even stay conscious. I'm essentially stuck in a position where I have to just live with it, suffering in silence while my body just slowly withers away. Around 2013, my Marfan syndrome caused an umbilical hernia so severe that my intestines were actually starting to protrude through my belly button area. I was constantly having to gently push them back in myself. Eventually had to have a hernia repair surgery, and where they installed this circular mesh to hold everything in place. This is the scar from when I had to have my intestines put back in from my belly button, and a wire mesh put in to make sure everything stays in. By 2014, my Marfan syndrome started affecting my joints more severely. Because the condition makes me prone to dislocations, my left hip kept popping out of place, and it led to several hospital visits and forced me to rely on crutches for a long time just to get around. By 2020, I was facing severe complications stemming from the femoral artery burst back in 2003, and that originally, with that injury, when I had all those heart surgeries, caused massive damage to my entire groin area, leading to long-term numbness and making it difficult to even feel when I have to urinate. The physical damage also meant I completely lost the ability to have intimate relations with my wife. So, to fix this, I underwent a surgical procedure to receive a 3-piece artificial penile implant. While the recovery was a process, the implant allowed things to function properly again, though I still deal with significant numbness on my left side. I have many other scars that I cannot show you. There's scars in my groins from when they had to put in different stents and different procedures with my heart. And also there was the implant done in the private area, and there's scars all around those areas as well. In 2021, my health took another major hit with congestive heart failure, known as CHF. It's a constant battle that has stripped away so much of my quality of life. My body is essentially broken, and I'm facing a reality where my remaining time is likely limited to living on this earth for maybe 10 to 20 years, maybe. And the impact on my daily life has just been devastating. The physical toll. I deal with constant swelling and fluid buildup in my lungs, my abdomen, and my legs. It's made breathing difficult at times and robbed me of my passion of singing and performing music sometimes. Then there's the diuretic trap. To manage the fluid, I'm on heavy medication that forces me to stay near a bathroom all the time. This means I can no longer enjoy nature hikes, go to movies, or even grab a cup of coffee with somebody because I need to be near a bathroom. Isolation and poverty. Being on disability pension that I'm on means that for 3 weeks of every month, I can't even afford a cup of coffee. I have no money, let alone groceries most months. Between the physical limitations and the financial strain, I'm often pushed to the sidelines and forgotten by society. It's a lonely cycle of hospitalizations and staying at home, watching the world go by from a distance while my body just continues to fight me and slowly decay. On May 13th, 2026, I'm going to be heading back to the Rocky View Hospital in Calgary for surgery again. That 3-piece penile implant has now failed, so they have to perform a replacement to get everything functional and functioning properly again. I recently had an echo, just very recently, and it looks like my heart's been working overtime. My heart walls are thickening, my aortic valve is narrowing, which is bottlenecking the blood flow, raising the pressure in the descending aorta. Because my heart is gradually enlarging, it's looking like they'll have to go back in there, and I'll need to head back into surgery sometime soon to replace my valves with larger ones. Basically, a 2026 remake of all those 2003 open heart procedures that almost killed me. I'll be lucky if I survive another surgery like that this time with all the health issues that I've got going on. So my time is probably limited. In 2026, it's been a lot of things to handle so far. My vision is the biggest priority right now. I've been dealing with increasing floaters and gel in my left eye. And since I have Marfan syndrome, there's a real risk of dislocated lens or even going blind. So I'm seeing the specialist at the end of this month to see if surgery is a possibility. Maybe they can fix it early. On top of that, an ultrasound just confirmed I have a damaged left rotator cuff on my arm, and my right kneecap is starting to act up too. So it's looking like a few more surgeries might be in my future to keep everything held together. Living with this condition has given me a profound understanding of life and death. I'm in a constant pain that no doctor can truly fix, and I know I'm living on borrowed time with the constant risk of a major cardiac or lung event. And that's why I'm so desperate to get my music out there. And it needs to get out there now. I don't know how much longer I have on this earth. And even though my disability income makes the higher cost of music production a huge struggle, I still refuse to give up. I'm doing the best that I can to leave my mark on this world, saying I was here while I still can. What makes this even harder is the isolation. I live in Cochrane without a car, and it means I often face long hospital stays entirely alone. And even at home, I lack a single friend I can truly lean on. I'm not saying I don't have friends of any kind, but just I don't have the ones I can lean on and trust to the level that I need. People often walk away mid-sentence from me, or they even dismiss my health struggles as me being attention-seeking. Because the reality of my condition is just too much for them to handle. Most people don't even believe it's real. Even my wife is often sidelined by her own health issues and her own health battles, and she can't be there for me at times when I need her. So the truth is, as my health gets more critical, I need more support more than ever. Yet, I'm forced to navigate this ticking time bomb almost entirely on my own. So before you judge me, I want you to truly imagine what it's like to live my life. Imagine surviving cult abuse, carrying the weight of death in your arms, and bearing the scars of past lives, all while facing an incredible disorder like Marfan syndrome. I've died on operating tables multiple times, and every day is a battle against relentless pain that only gets worse with age. I've been shunned and forced to walk this path alone, knowing the spirits will eventually claim their due. So, before you look away, ask yourself, how would you feel if this was your reality? This isn't just a story. It's my second-to-second reality. On the bad days, I'm just fighting to breathe through the next moment, all while being forced into a life of poverty on a small disability pension. It's a constant battle to survive, both the physical pain and the financial strain. I live with complex PTSD that no therapist, no doctor has ever been able to fix. Every single morning, I have to talk to myself into feeling safe, reminding myself that I'm in my own bed at home and not in a hospital ward. But with Marfan syndrome, that safety is fragile. A life-threatening emergency can happen at any time in an instant, leaving me with only minutes to get to a hospital and get help before it's too late. It's absolutely terrifying to live on this edge, but this is my reality every day. Now look back at your own life, and I hope my story helps you find a new appreciation for the blessings that you have. Be truly grateful you don't have to carry this burden, my burden. But for those of you who do have a life like mine, Use me as your inspiration. If I survived all of this, and I'm still sitting here speaking to you today, then you can make it too. It's incredibly hard, I will not lie to you, but with a strong will and a focused mind, you can endure. Well, that's it for today's episode, and I hope this has inspired you in some way, and I hope it has given you some strength. So tune in next time for another episode of Uriel Morningstar versus the World, and I will see you all soon.